In recent years, NHL fans have been blessed. Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, oh my god, Cale Makar. As a fan of everything hockey, this is heaven. But sometimes there is a stinker.
The Edmonton Oilers are so proud to select Nail Yakupov.
Off to try and compare. Here's so many comparisons. You get a goal scoring Russian winger. You're gonna get. You got some Ovechkin. He's got some Ilya Kovalchuk.
You just had to ruin it for the rest of us, Nail. Why? Even though there's been some crazy talent entering the league, not to mention several child phenoms on the way, every once in a while a prospect like Nail Yakupov comes around and plants a seed of doubt in every fan's mind. Wait, even though he's a first overall pick, there's a chance he becomes a bust? And that's the thing, prospect development is wild. Even though you can be considered the most dominant 18-year-old in the world, who tears up elite competition on top of ex-NHLers, by no means does that talent translate to the NHL level, which again creates doubt. I mean, hey, Jack Hughes just had one of the worst seasons by a first overall pick in NHL history, which caused a non-stop onslaught of him being called a bust. However, even though his point totals may not point toward it, this season Jack Hughes was a stud and without a doubt still shows that #1 center franchise upside. So I guess we will use this as another precedent on why you must pump the brakes when using the term bust. And if you enjoy the videos, make sure to press subscribe for some more awesome hockey content. We are now almost at 60K, which is just wild, guys, and your support would really make my day. Cole. Oh wait, no, I take that back. Goal Caufield. Even though that's obviously a nickname, he might as well change it to his legal name. Because since Caufield was a baby in diapers, he was sniping pucks bar down. In fact, Cole Caufield might just have one of the most impressive draft resumes I've ever seen. I mean, even in his first national tournament. Cole Caufield would light up the Brick Invitational with 9 goals, 18 points in 6 games. Like, unless we're talking about maybe Ovechkin or some of the all-time greats, I have never seen this level of goal scoring consistency ever. 18 goals in 19 games in his first registered season. 25 and 23, 50 goals in 22 games the next season, which snowballed into an incredible run with the United States Development Program, as Cole would put up 44 goals in 40 games in his first season. And in his draft year, shit went wild. 72 goals in 64 games. Cole Caufield was easily past the goal per game mark in his draft year. And I know what you might be thinking, but here is some perspective. Austin Matthews at the same age had 55 goals. Incredible. But 17 less goals than Caufield. Patrick Kane, 51. Phil the Thrill Hot Dog Man Kessel, 41. Cole wasn't just putting up good numbers, his goal scoring set every league record and was crushing the records of past NHL stars. Not to mention he didn't just do it locally. No, Cole Caufield also dominated on the world stage, as he would even put up 14 goals in 7 U18 games in his draft year, so 2 goals per game. Are you kidding me? Because even though Caufield had the production of a generational talent, he would be passed on 14 times. 14 teams looked at that goal scoring and thought, you know what? Yes, we know he has otherworldly scoring ability. Yes, we know that small players can now play, but it doesn't matter. He's too small. Crazy to think, because if they didn't think that, they would have drafted him. Again, if Cole Caufield was maybe even 2 inches taller, 5'9", 5'10", not only would he have gone in the top 3, he would have been the headline of the draft. And it's also why I keep emphasizing Caufield's crazy resume. I mean, Caufield has done this at every single level without a sweat. And even with his track record, many analysts, many fans still called my man a bust and said that his goal scoring will not translate to the NHL level. And well, move over boomers. This dude is the literal definition of a natural goal scorer, and setting the tone and improving why small players can excel in today's game. Which is also why it was no surprise when Caufield would also score at a goal per game pace with the University of Wisconsin in the NCAA. Because in his sophomore season, Cole would put up 30 goals in 31 games. Jack Eichel, one of the best NCAA prospects from this generation, had 26 goals with Boston University. Crazy. Which is also why it was no surprise when Caufield would put up 3 goals in 2 AHL games this year. And again, without skipping a beat. Caufield has been an impact player in this year's grueling NHL playoffs. Even with these high levels of physicality, it doesn't matter. Goal scorers score, and Caufield is really proving that this season. Great looks, timely playoff goals, the man's clutch. To put it simply, Caufield has a scary future, especially alongside of someone like Nick Suzuki. And you know what, guys? I think that is pretty damn cool. We are at a point for the first time in hockey history where smaller players are not going to get slept on anymore. Brett Hull. Some fans tend to forget these days, but without a doubt, Brett Hull is one of the greatest goal scorers in NHL history. Yet, he nearly went undrafted. Because even though Hull put up an unbelievable 188 points, 105 goals in 56 BCHL games, Brett Hull would be passed on 116 times in the draft. And why, do you ask? Well, Brett Hull had a horrible attitude and didn't take hockey seriously, on top of having terrible conditioning. And even though he was blessed with incredible scoring instincts, 100 goals in 50 games in his draft year, what? No team cared. In fact, every team, every fan was counting on him being an absolute bust. Which, to be fair, does make sense, especially back in the 80s where your attitude and character were strongly tied to your value. And well, with a bunch of doubters, a bunch of haters now, the next season Brett Hull would go to the NCAA and put up just crazy numbers. 60 points as a freshman, 84 points the next year, on top of dominating NHL players in the World Championships before stepping a single foot in the NHL. And get this, you know how I just covered how Calgary gave up Martin St. Louis for no reason? And then a couple years later he would beat Calgary in the finals? Well, Brett Hull would join the Flames, and with the narrative that Hull wouldn't translate to the NHL level, he would get cut and sent down to the minors. Absurd, because in that year, he would put up 92 points in the AHL, and from what I could find, this is the best rookie season in AHL history. However, it wasn't even enough to become a full-time roster player, as Hull would only get a 5-game stint in the NHL, even after setting these crazy records. The next year, Hull would put up 26 goals, 50 points in 52 games in his rookie season. Incredible. Yet, even though he now proved it, he still had many skeptics, including his own team, as the Calgary Flames, even though they now had a generational talent, still didn't trust Hull, and would shockingly trade him in what has to be the worst trade I have ever seen. You know, I've been saying this all the time now where it's almost a meme, but guys, this one is so brutal, it's not even funny. As Brett Hull would be traded in his rookie season, in a season where he showed 100% of his upside, for not even 80 games of Rob Ramage, who was a bottom 6 grinder, and Rick Wamsley, who was a decent number 2 option in net. But the thing is, Brett Hull within 2 years of this trade would have an 86 goal season. Like, goddamn. As Brett Hull, 2 years after this trade, would put up the 3rd most goals in a single season in NHL history. The only player to put up more was Wayne Gretzky, and this was done by a dude who is considered a goddamn bust. If we think Jack Hughes has it bad now, it's not even close. And his own team saw it. He was scoring at over a 40-goal pace in Calgary, and they just still didn't fully believe in it. Not to mention that the Flames would also give up Steve Bozic, who in hindsight was worth the trade alone without Brett Hull even being involved. I can't even wrap my head around that stat. Brett Hull, just like Cole Caufield, proved that they were both incredible goal-scoring talents, but were doubted time and time again, and traded in what is the worst trade I have ever seen, just to be in the record book not even 1 year later. So I guess the lesson here is, don't give NHL teams attitude, as it will not only taint your name, make everyone think you're a bust, but it will also make your journey to the NHL much, much harder.
Golden Knights select Jonathan Marchessault.
The Vegas Golden Knights have also made a trade, acquiring Riley Smith from Florida, in addition to a 2018 4th-round pick.
Okay, obviously hindsight is 2020, but man, so many teams made horrible decisions in the Vegas expansion draft. And yes, we hear about William Karlsson, Riley Smith, Alex Tuch, but what was in my opinion the worst deal of the day was by the Anaheim Ducks. And here's the story. Back in 2013, the Anaheim Ducks would get an absolute steal, as they would snatch up Shea Theordore at 26, and Theodore would have an incredible development path. The next year, he would see huge progression in the WHL, on top of being called up to the AHL, and putting up 11 points in his first 9 professional games, while at the same time showing a great glimpse of his elite offensive upside. He would then dominate the AHL, nearly sitting at a point per game in his final season, on top of having fantastic analytics in every NHL call-up. Theodore had a very clear upward progression, and he was showing it both on the score sheet and in the analytics. However, before getting a full season's chance, Anaheim would ship him to the Vegas Golden Knights just so that they could protect and get this Antoine Vermette, who put up a grand total of 29 points the season before and would straight up retire the next season. Sami Vatanen, who saw a huge regression that season and would just be traded anyways, and Andrew Cogliano, which does make a bit more sense. But keep in mind, he was at the end of his career at this point and would put up 11 points the next season. And to protect these 3 players, Anaheim would give the Vegas Golden Knights Shea Theodore in a trade for nothing, as Shea Theodore was the payment for taking Clayton Stoner in the draft. Which, okay, they did take $3 million off the books, but would you rather have a number 1 puck-moving defenseman heading towards stardom, or save $3 million in cap, not to mention that he was on long-term injury reserve anyways? And I even forgot to mention that Theodore was also Anaheim's best defenseman in the playoffs as a rookie. And well, I guess Anaheim just didn't believe it, because the next season, Theodore would break out with 29 points in 62 games on top of having great analytics. And since then, it's only been up. 6th in Norris voting last season, another phenomenal season this year. I mean, this dude has Norris potential. And he was traded and just given up. Clearly they did not believe in him. And even if they did not realize his potential. Like, imagine Vancouver was like, we want to protect Brandon Sutter and Louis Eriksson. Here's Quinn Hughes for free. As 2 veterans and a defenseman on their way out were protected over a phenom who only showed positive progression.